You know what's strange? Humans can land on the moon and still fall into the same conflict patterns. Different century, different uniforms, same emotional software. And it always starts the same way. A feeling, a story, a threat. I'm not here to blame a country. I'm not here to pick a side. I'm here to explain the psychology. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll recognize it in history books, in headlines, and even inside your own reactions. Today, we're naming it the war loop. And if you understand the loop, you can protect your mind from being pulled into it. Here's the war loop in plain English. A group feels threatened. The group tightens. The group justifies. The group escalates. The other side reacts. That reaction becomes proof. Then the loop repeats. Fear creates action. Action creates proof. Proof creates more fear. That's why conflict starts feeling inevitable. Not because it is, because loops feel like fate when you're trapped inside them. And the human brain loves loops. They reduce uncertainty. They make chaos feel organized. But organized doesn't mean true. It just means your nervous system found a pattern to hold on to. Picture this. A normal day. People are working, eating, joking. Then one story hits the room. A clip, a rumor, a headline. Something scary, something insulting. You feel it before you think it. That tightness in your chest, that heat in your face. Your brain doesn't ask, is this accurate? It asks, is this dangerous? And danger changes everything, because once you feel threatened, you don't want nuance. You want certainty. This is why the first phase of conflict is psychological. The battlefield starts inside attention, inside identity, inside fear. That's step one of the war loop, threat perception. Humans are wired for belonging. Belonging feels like safety. So when fear rises, the brain does something fast. It sorts people. Us. Them. And once them becomes one big label, the brain stops seeing individuals. It stops seeing complexity. It stops seeing exceptions. A few actions become their nature. A few mistakes become who they are. This is how dehumanization starts. Not with hate, with simplification. And once the group label becomes sacred, neutrality becomes suspicious. Because in threat mode, staying neutral feels like betrayal. That's step two of the war loop, identity tightening. In peaceful times, uncertainty is annoying. In threat mode, uncertainty feels deadly. So people grab the fastest explanation available, even if it's wrong. That's why rumors spread like wildfire during conflict, not because people are stupid, because fear makes the brain impatient. The scariest story spreads first because it matches your nervous system. It feels urgent. It feels protective. It feels shareable. And social media makes it worse. Because speed gets rewarded. Accuracy does not. Your brain isn't built to verify. It's built to survive. That's step three of the war loop. Information distortion. There's one emotion that turns conflict into gasoline. Humiliation. When people feel disrespected, powerless, or laughed at, the pain demands repayment, and pride steps in like armor. That's when arguments stop being about outcomes. They become about status. Backing down starts feeling like shame, and shame feels unbearable. So people choose a painful path just to avoid looking weak, even when it costs more. Even when it hurts their own future. This is the part where escalation feels rational from the inside because it's protecting identity. That's step 4 of the war loop, pride over problem solving. Now let's talk about propaganda without drama. Propaganda works because of a normal brain feature, repetition. The more you hear something, the more familiar it feels, and familiar often gets misread as true. Propaganda also uses emotion over detail. A single image can overpower a long explanation, and if the message matches your group identity, it gets a dopamine reward. It feels good to believe it. It feels good to share it. It feels like loyalty. The scariest propaganda isn't obvious lies. It's selective truth with maximum emotion. That's step 5 of the war loop, belief hardening. When fear rises, people crave moral clarity. Good guys, bad guys, simple. But moral certainty is a trap. Because once you believe you're purely good, everything you do becomes justified. And once you believe the other side is purely evil, harm starts feeling acceptable. This is where language changes. People stop saying they did something bad. They start saying they are bad. And once you believe they deserve it, empathy shuts off. Empathy isn't weakness. Empathy is a brake. When the brake fails, escalation becomes easy. This is a key repeat mistake in history, certainty replacing curiosity. Now zoom out to leadership. War changes the brain at the top, too. At first, risk feels unthinkable. Then the baseline shifts. What used to be shocking becomes routine. This is risk normalization. And leaders face a second pressure, performance. They can't look unsure. So certainty becomes part of the job. But confidence is not accuracy. Sometimes confidence is fear wearing a suit. And when leaders are rewarded for boldness, the system starts selecting for escalation. That's another repeat pattern. The incentives around leadership often punish caution. Here's one of the most tragic loops: sunk cost. When people sacrifice time, money, or lives, the brain hates the idea it was for nothing. So instead of updating the plan, the brain protects the past. We can't stop now. We've already paid too much. That sentence feels logical, but it's emotional. It's the mind trying to turn pain into meaning. And this is how conflicts drag on, not always because of new goals, but because of old wounds. This is one of the biggest repeat mistakes, continuing because stopping would force grief. Now the part that matters for you. You can't control global conflict, but you can control whether the war loop hijacks your mind. Here's the mind reset protocol. Name the trigger. This is fear. This is group rage. This is certainty addiction. Slow your sharing. If it makes you instantly furious or terrified, pause. Use a 2-source rule before you spread it. Limit your inputs. 1 or 2 updates per day, not constant scrolling. Your brain can't live in permanent crisis. No doom scrolling before bed. Because your nervous system cannot power down while scanning threats. This isn't ignoring reality. It's protecting your ability to think. A hijacked brain helps no one. War repeats because humans repeat. Same shortcuts, same emotions, same loop. But awareness is a crack in the pattern, and cracks are how cycles break. If you can spot the war loop, threat, identity, distortion, pride, certainty, sunk cost, you stop feeding it inside yourself. You become harder to manipulate. You stay human when it's easiest to go numb or cruel. If this hit home, comment history. And subscribe to Mind Reset for more psychology that protects your mind in real life.